This is an update on our snapper turtle patient of October 2015, and he is doing much better. Let me move our little Bonnie red-haired slider girl out of the way here. They were just taking a bath together, and he is responding very well to treatments. This is the most responsive that he has been in the week that he has been here. He is doing much better. Very defensive right now, like he's supposed to be. And he's been walking around in the tub. And also, I have noticed that the eye there, probably can't see it on camera, but it looks like his globe is not ruptured. It's pretty much intact. It may be atrophied some. It's much more set back into the orbit of the skull in the socket than the other eye. The cornea is opaque. It's cloudy. So it was either damaged or there's an infection going on, and it looks a little, ischemic, like it's might have shrunken up because of trauma and a loss of blood supply. So that's good news as far as it looks relatively intact, that the overall structure of the eye is not torn, so that there won't have to be an enucleation, which is a surgical removal of the eye. And I was afraid I may have to do that and or suture his eyelids together if he had a big deficit in there. A lot of the eye tissue missing in order to keep that from getting infected and turning necrotic and killing him from a brain infection or something like that. But it looks like I'm not going to have to do any of that. I'm not sure if he's probably got some eyesight out of there. I can see his pupil, so he may have some eyesight out of that side. He's not really indicating that he is, but and it may continue to be cloudy, and he may, if he has any vision in it, he may lose all vision. But it's still relatively good news that if the overall structure of the eye itself stays intact to the point that it's still receiving blood supply, even if he can't see out of it, so that he doesn't just have this necrotic tissue, this void in his socket that has to be dealt with, and suturing the eyelids closed and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't look like that's going to be necessary, and that is good news. So, he may have to stay over the winter with me, depending on how rapidly he recovers, but my treatments are working. I kind of had to throw a Hail Mary there. Wasn't quite for sure if it was septic shock or heavy metal toxicity he was suffering, but I went ahead and treated for both, and he got antibiotics and some steroid for septic shock, if that's what the case was. He also got painkillers for the eye and for the wounds with the fish hooks that he had in his mouth. The one that initially brought him to be brought to me, and the older treble hook that had been stuck in the roof of his mouth prior to that. He wasn't even brought to me for that one. He was brought to me for a fish hook that had already been removed, but he was bleeding and lethargic. And I investigated further, and turns out that's, there was the reason for that was the first fish hook that got him, that was still stuck in the roof of his mouth. And then gave him some a treatment for if it was heavy metal toxicity, some N-acetylcysteine, some vitamin C, lots of fluids, lactated ringers, calcium, vitamin B, and some milk thistle. Primarily the vitamin C, the milk thistle, and the N-acetylcysteine are to protect his liver from the toxicity, and then for chelation for the vitamin C, and then just a lot of fluids so that his kidneys can help eliminate that stuff. Whether it was the heavy metal toxicity from the hook that was breaking down in the roof of his mouth, or an infection from the wound that it caused. But something is working, and he is doing much, much better. And I think he's going to make it. And if that eye is not any more serious than it is, he might actually, it's going to be cutting it close, but he might actually be releasable this fall before we get too cool. If he doesn't have to stay with me very much longer in rehab, that means he's not going to lose a whole lot of weight, and he can just go right back out there to the wild. That would be ideal for me, because I'm pretty well up to capacity right now. Trying to keep another snapping turtle over the winter is it's when you start receiving these guys, even the red-eared sliders, like this girl here, she's about 8 to 10 inches long, and when you get quite a few of these animals like this, you start to run out of room after a few years of you get some that are non-releasable, and like right now, the babies that I'm raising, 120 hatchlings out there taking up room too, so you start to run out of room. And it would really be great if he recovered enough in the next month or so that I could just release him. That's the goal here.